global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello, good people. Welcome back to Global Happenings. The Nigerians are still reacting over the speech made by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu over the issue of protest. Don't forget that the presidency had applauded him, and they feel he was able to give Nigerian 30 commitment to what he is still doing for the betterment of the country. But most Nigerians consider it to be a mere academic reportage, and there have been myriads of reactions coming from different quarters, especially from the elite. First in the list is Dele Momodu of Aviation. He had taken time to tell Nigerians his standpoint as it has to do with the presidential speech. Also, we're going to see what Arisetv Oseni have to say also about that same speech. Let's look at Dele Momodu. He says, fellow Nigerians, good morning. After the long-awaited speech of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu eventually came this morning, I'm sure most of you would be as stupefied as me. I must confess that I had little hope of Tinubu granting some concession to the aggrieved Nigerians. As a man who has held iron grip on Lagos State in the last 25 years, it would be difficult to him or for him to change the winning formula that has worked for him ever since. Also, what did we expect his advisors to be telling him when most of them have been his most fanatical cronies from Lagos who have learned never to challenge the master? So it was mere wishful thinking on the part of incurable optimists like me to think he was going to have mercy on a hapless and seemingly helpless Nigerians. Just for academic purpose, let's reel out what a sensitive leader who craves the rightful position in posterity would have done and said. Number one, he said, in view of the unprecedented suffering being experienced by Nigerians, we have decided to cut the cost of governance drastically. Some ministries will be scrapped, and some ministers, permanent secretaries, and all redundant personnel would be erased out. No official cars will be procured anytime soon. Number two, the number of aircraft on our presidential flight will be reduced to maximum 2. I offer sincere apologies that we went ahead to invest in luxury items at this bad time. We shall place immediate embargo on subsequent purchase. Number three, subsidy on petroleum products will be reviewed thoroughly to ascertain the genuine cost and true billing of the controversial payment. While we hope to achieve this in the maximum of 3 months, we shall revert to old prices within this period in order to reduce the heavy burden on our people. We shall also escalate work on our existing refineries, without which we shall be throwing away loads of resources. Nothing has stored our refineries other than reckless corruption. This we are blocking immediately. Number four, instead of tasking civil servants and politicians to handle student loan and vocational grants, we shall engage reputable accounting firms and banks to set up modalities for credit and activate the disbursement. Those were the recommendations that Dele Momodu had to give. But then let's also look at what Arisetv Oseni has been advocating ever since the president presented that speech to Nigerians. Now, what you're going to hear now is among multiple responses that he had given to the presentation. First of all, I think the first thing he talked about was the issue of, an interview being granted Bola Ahmed Tinubu than all the stage, speeches he has, broadcasts he's been making. But let's look at what he said. He said, President Tinubu, it's sad that your cabinet will never tell you the truth. The hope you promise is now forlorn hope. It is shambolic hope. There is no vision, no evidence that things will be better. There is no pathway. It will be a cycle of borrowing from the IMF and expecting a miracle. We can't continue with this living on a prayerful mentality. Since you got in, it's been a spell of borrowing, and despite this borrowing, the monies are spent frivolously till date. You haven't told us what happened at the humanitarian ministry. Part of the supplementary budget last year was was spent on making the lawmakers happy. All the promises you made last year, almost the same things you have repeated today. The CNG policy is not sustainable, as you haven't told us how you will ensure we have more CNG stations across the country. Your climate change policies have barely taken off. You have drastically reduced the purchasing power of Nigerians. The subsidy removal and floating the currency has destroyed the economic fabric of Nigerians. This administration has become like a nefarious needle, needling the hopes and prospects of Nigerians. Jagaban. In all of this, your advisors keep telling you tales, but the people want result. They want the economy to be better. They want a Nigerian where the naira is worth something, and being Nigerian is appreciated. As Ralph Waldo Emerson says, what you do speaks so loud, I can't hear what you say. You say you feel their pains, but they see the vice presidential palace that cost 21 billion naira. You say you feel their pains, but they see your need to buy private jets when the people suffer. You say you feel their pains, but they say massive job losses and unemployment. They want to see action. Jagaban. You said you removed subsidy, but recently in a government document, we discover you set aside about 5 trillion naira to pay petrol subsidy. So what's the truth about this matter? Coupled with that, the people see crude oil theft and they want you to fix it. You must remember that you are the president and I want you to succeed, but you are not doing your best to the people, to my own estimation. That was what he had to tell Nigerians. Guess what? Several other persons have reacted, and just as we have seen in other reactions of different people, none of them had been for the president, and which is a serious minus on the part of the president. I feel that he should do something speedily. Now, let's just listen to what Dr. Obiageli Obi, a former minister, had to say, her reaction as it has to do with Tinubu August 4th broadcast. She said, "An official, but as one of the millions of Nigerians who were at church when you deliver your late incoming speech to citizens on the End Bad Governance Nigeria protest, let me loudly say it was terribly underwhelming to read. Your speech reads like a page from your party manifesto and terribly failed to connect to what our citizens on the street are angry and protesting about. Your speech is quite a monumental missed opportunity to placate citizens with sound answers and outline of convincing evidence-based actions that you and your Nigerian governors will immediately take to address the priorities #bad governance concern. Your speech was sadly again written out of a mindset that is focused on getting back at our enemies, imaginary enemies at that. No true leader has the luxury of having enemies among their citizens, not at all. A public leader becomes the leader of all with a mind that does not think of any as their enemy. This is why it is ever unfortunate to see Nigerian public leaders talk and behave like losers on matters of public governance, where they are expected to rally their all citizens behind the common purpose of nation building. It is nauseating to observe this recurrent inmate unwillingness of Nigerian public leaders to admit responsibility for the demands of the same public leadership that they kill and maim citizens to assume. An official, but citizens know when they are being badly governed, and from what one can see, Nigerians have now realized that they must collectively speak up and take actions, otherwise their self-obsessed rulers and not leaders will not pay them any heed at all. As we remember and pray for families of all citizens mauled down or maimed for demanding an end to bad governance, let me call on you, an official, but to immediately instruct the IG at Police NG and his men to stop killing peaceful protesters now. Also fish out all law enforcement personnel that have killed and maimed citizens and ensure that they are sanctioned as a deterrent to their colleagues. So many reactions are coming in, which clearly shows that the speech was nothing to write home about. But guess what? The president has spoken. We'll still wait to see if some of these suggestions that have been made by top Nigerians, especially on the area of that reckless and ruthless crackdown on protesters, is handled. As I'm talking to you right now, more than 109 protesters have been reprimanded in prison. For what? For protesting. Possibly such persons have been involved in one form of violence or the other. But I think such an issue should be put on a public glare so that Nigerians will be clarified about it. That's what we'd like to leave it.
Global happenings today.